Man, this one's weird, bro. I really don't understand. So EA, if you guys don't know, they took Quad Father. It was the best running back ability since Madden 20 with Eric Dickerson. Not as good as that, but really good. They took that from 1 AP and made the ability combination 3 AP. And there's a few things I'm going to break down throughout this video that are really interesting that are running in my mind. First and foremost, right, they took the actual ability from 1 to 2, but then people are using persistence on him to make him really OP, and they took that from 0 AP, which I don't know why it was 0, but they took it from 0 AP and bumped it to 1, making the entire combination from 1 to 3 now, okay? First and foremost, what's interesting about that is that means EA listens and watches, and not only that, they didn't just bump the ability, the X factor, right? They bumped a random ability called persistence, which no one has ever used before, that they purposely put in, they purposely knocked it to 0 AP for the card, and then bumped him back to 1 AP, which is the stock thing on it. And for them to know that, they have to be pretty hands-on to know that it's not just Quad Father, right? A casual might think, oh, it's just Quad Father. Well, Quad Father by itself is really insane, the freight train ability with him, but persistence what took that to the next level, right? Which is interesting that they went above and beyond to do that. Another thing that I thought was weird is the idea that if you want to know my framework for how I run my offenses and defenses and how I've won pro Madden tournaments while becoming a top ranked player, join my website civil.gg. My guides will give you the tools you need to win more games of Madden, regardless if you're trying to become comp or if you're just trying to win more games online head to head. The link is in the description. They were able to identify something that was really good in the game, that was overwhelmingly meta in the game, that was overpowered, whatever, and tune the AP on that within 4 days. And I can look back in history of Madden since we've added this AP system, where they have purposely said that they have to take time to update abilities and AP and stuff like that. They've taken months to do it in the past. I remember one step ahead before, but I remember bench press in Madden 20 was an ability that nobody liked. Nobody was a fan of it. Everybody thought it was terrible. I paid $500 for a wide receiver, and he couldn't play for 3 plays. And they kept it in for a month, 2 months, and that was in August, September. Another thing I will say, I've had the luxury and the luckiness, I guess, to be a part of and be able to listen in and hear conversations and see how they go between EA and pro players. And it's interesting that EA is so weird about what they listen to and what they don't listen to and what they do and don't. They're inconsistent as heck. I'm going to tell you something. Before, I know a lot of people watching this video are saying, oh, the pro players complain and they get their way again, which in this case, it is true. But what's so interesting is I could break down a couple different examples of, let's take even something as simple as like knockout chems, right? Same idea, knockout chems. All pro players would like is for those to get bumped up in AP. Why? Because knockouts are extremely inconsistent. Very few comp guys are really a fan of knockout chems. But EA doesn't. And it's like, okay, well, if you listened in this case, why are you not listening in this case, right? When it's pretty unanimous from the pro players in both ways, right? That's an AP example. And that fits perfectly, by the way. That's the exact same idea. Pro players don't like the knockout chems, want them raised higher so people have less of them, and it doesn't matter. EA will do it whenever EA feels like it in that case. Another one's, I mean, things as simple as man coverage being inconsistent, but even like D-line tip picks are another thing where it's like, man, there's not a single player in or comp guy who likes that. And that's a legacy issue since Madden 20 that started. Really big, that's when that started. And it's like, well, they're not. That's why I hate the notion that EA is just listening to the pro players. Because, I mean, I just gave you a couple examples of when they don't. And it's like, it's so weird to me. I feel like I have a really interesting view because I was a part of I've been fortunate enough to be part of these conversations and hear how pros think about the game at the highest of levels. I'm friends with belt winners. I'm friends with guys who play at the top of the top, right? So I've got to hear how they speak on the game. But I also speak to people every single day who play the game, who just play online, right? A lot of you guys watching right now are not pro players. Maybe some of you are comp, maybe aspiring comp. But pretty much all of you guys play the game online is the thing, right? And I care a lot about how you guys view the game, what's fun, et cetera, et cetera. And obviously, I care more about that than I do the pro side of things, because the fact of the matter is, and I understand this to a core level, is that the more fun casual players have, for lack of a better word, just online, not pros, people who just play the game online for fun, the more fun they have, the more people who watch Madden. The more people who watch Madden, end all be all, makes me more money and gets me more views, gets me more everything, right? So I want that. That is what I want. So I will always try to advocate for what I believe will increase interest in Madden. That's why you saw me as a big fan of Quad for 1 AP and said, let's do it for about a month. That's why I said that in my last video, because I really felt like for about a month, that's going to be great for peak Madden interest for a while. We saw Quad Father was fucking trending the other day. That's sick. But after a month, I really do feel like, okay, we got to tune out of this because it's not fun anymore. We got to do something else that's kind of glitchy or whatever. It's like a King Henry at the Escape Artist last year, quarterback. Really fun for like a month, and then it's like, okay. And then we dealt with it for 8 more months. But yeah, so it puts me in like an interesting thing where I really care about that. What I will say though, in regards to the actual like bumping of 1 to 3 AP, it really doesn't matter. Like in terms of building your scheme, it doesn't matter. You can fit that. You can. The amount of AP short or discounts that they have in the game right now, you can fit that. Only people who's really getting screwed by that a little bit is people who can't afford some of those players that have AP discounts, which does suck. I agree with you guys. It does suck. But besides that, I mean, it feels really fair. 3 AP for the best running back since Eric Dickerson still, it's insane. You can drop, an ability here and there, and you could still make it work. One really big benefit of this, though, and I really, again, trying to be very level-headed about it. I want you guys to be level-headed. If you're watching my videos, you are not an impulsive, spam, hate comment type person. That's not what we do here. We like level-headedly think about things, objectively think about things. One positive of it is the fact that now Henry can't run the best passing offense in the game and for 1 AP have the best rushing offense in the game, because it's not, trust me, it's not run scheme this, run scheme that. It's not, they have too many DBs on the field. No, Henry would have the best run scheme from gun tight, because halfback base out of gun tight is really good. A lot of people are getting crazy about 8 DB sets, whatever, and you're not. There's a lot of merit in that, trust me. As someone who is a big fan of offensive line play in both college and the NFL, there is a ton of issues. Backside penetration, no pause. I'm not pausing that. Backside penetration in Madden is terrible. Targeting in Madden, play side from guards, is terrible. The way they work to the second level off after chipping off a double team is terrible. There's a billion different examples. But fact of the matter is, if you have to go to 3-4 odd against Henry because Henry's spamming gun tight halfback base, you lost. You don't have a chance anymore. So I do like the fact that they're bumping it up to AP does make people have to reconsider how integrated running the ball can be into their main scheme and how much they have to choose back and forth, right? There is a little bit of that, because now to fit that extra 2 AP, you might have to drop a short in. You might have to drop a deep out. You might have to drop a secure or edge pro, right? You might have to. You'll have to drop something, obviously. So I think that's something interesting to keep in mind as well. I really wish they would have patched this or tuned this in a month. Really, like that's my verdict on it. I feel like that's very fair. To say it wasn't overpowered, you're insane. That's not saying the other meta stuff isn't overpowered, but this was super overpowered, and also, like, come on. Dickerson didn't take skill man 20 if we have hindsight. This is the same, very, very similar idea, right? So, yeah, I really would have liked to see that. I hope, man, I'd like to see them drop like a, man, EA, they're so weird, bro. Like, they shouldn't have patched it yet, man, because the people complaining about it, like genuinely being mad about it, to me at least, and mind you, it really felt like a very, a loud minority of people. And it was just comp guys, really. And the game's so much bigger than that. They shouldn't have patched it. I think it should have been a month. Seriously, I think it should have been a month. And introduce something else interesting, like a Carmichael or Calvin Johnson or Moss that can catch in double coverage. Like give him double me or something. I don't know. Yeah, I'm saying though, like another kind of broken thing. Just because, I mean, we're in January, we're late January. We're going to get into late February. And, we have 6 months till this game starts to die off, right? And I'm very aware of that. And I'd like for those 6 months to be fun. Again, Madden had a lot of hype around it for the first time since launch, or a lot of it wasn't negative. It was good hype. It was like, oh, this is kind of fun. I'm hopping on the game right now. I want to see this because this AJ Quadfather's freaking sick. So it's frustrating, man. Again, I wish we would have just waited a month with it, truthfully, but we'll see. You still fit in it. I still think, I run Deuce Closer now. I think it's the best thing in the game still. I really do. I didn't lose anything from how I had to change my abilities. I just had to buy a couple guys that could fit with AP discounts. But, yep.